morning, sir. Good morning, classmates. I am Lou Tresola, BS Criminology, 1D Batch 2, and this is my part of our video report presentation. Chapter 8, Basic Skills in Self-Management. Self-management is a technique that we practically use every day and in any way. It is a technique that no one less carrying the self and comfortable manner and distinct details. He is the wisdom that we will spoke and a missing speech during graduation, being the youngest judge in the city, bearing so many degree and with attractive personality. This in turn be a formula to self-management. The way we carry ourselves in a despite social evolution while learning to accept and reject judgment and criticism is an option. A fallacy of or error is a judgment behind rigorous control. For instance, you have suffered a lot of physical but you keep yourself that ill condition from a disease. In the effect, you decide to stay away from your friend for a while and you have your medicine for a 6 month. But no one of your friends called you paranoid and antisocial. If you awake, chances are you will get mad to false remark or will get false child's case and it could be exactly. It is a complicated as well because sometimes as adolescents your personality reason will never heard by parents and even surrogate adults at home. Most of the youth feel that way. They all around are empty. Therefore, the forward windows are called option in the life and design the self-understanding matter over the self-management. One of the students who have performed community service asked the certainly professor and said Manabe, how do you perceive a person surrounded by gossip, people who hurt her? The situation present was perfectly an issue of successful outcome over the possible outcome. Someone who is the fair in treating one's righteous act was perceived right by the people, acceptable and reject the false perception as wrong and made it right. Thus mowed out any way of self-blames. Around us, the people that see who are upset that we are accomplished, recognize our achievement and comment our failures. But they are significant people who are change our love in general and perception in particular. They improve our world's views, changing our wisdom against all odds, make us creative and protective, help and us accept the desires we have not reached, and most particularly help us satisfy our words to make it reality. In the people will guide in the best way. Upshot if you find someone hating you, it is but a decision. Respect it. If you feel sad and tiny-eyed, go for it and wipe. Remember what Pope Francis 2015 said. Learn how you wipe. We Christians, but we relearn and simple things the older live constantly and happily in a life as we are not afraid to show our friend. It is humanity and it is the bride that connect our the people. If you have mistake, ask and for apologize. Remember, pageant have Steve Harvey's during the Miss Universe of 2015. He was mistaken called up if The who is the mess you of the first running or the first running up, yet he quiet. In the famous Stephen Curry, as quiet below reminds what is all about. In addition to self-awareness, imagination and consequence, it is the fourth human endowment. Independent will release makes effect self-management possible. It is the ability to make decision and choice to act accordance with them. It is the ability to act rather to be through other three in the endowment. The empowerment of comes of learning how to treat endowment in the decision we make every day. A beautiful book in a self transformation authored by Jane Jr. introduce a heartwarming guide further self-understanding, self-acceptance, and purpose opens mind re- re- realization. It is a factor explained that no oneself alone that blends us for a higher course toward a joyful life. It is not alone that no one needs, but it is facilitate that same toward spiritual feedback to others and spread the greatness of wisdom. Thus, if you are genuinely self-matter, you will get instantaneously become a facilitator on this. One of Will's thought on his remark, helping the transformation of other people is noble. It also one responsible. It is that you should not only have undertaken the difficult quest of self-understanding, it know it has also developed qualities that will prepare you to effectively assist other people in their own transformation process. In Cornized to upstream social problem, self-empowerment is a big impact of the self-understanding. Self-empowerment is like assist of to the following. Being able ethically speak what someone believes what is right, socially acceptable and nationally helping. 2. If someone go beyond her, hers or her limit and ignore by doing that passionate about by learning, upgrading and upgrading and updating her or her skills and talent that include to a technological advance. And third, the beliefs of continue and respect to family, good motivation from friend, strong faith in God among the essential factors. Educating education of self, a city by Forman, was developed by Gary Winston in the University of Massachusetts. Education of self, as it is affectionately called, is a college level course in personal growth based on a physiological theory and design of promotion, introspection, self-analysis, consideration of alternatives, risk-taking behavior, and cognitive integration. The goal is for students not merely to acquire self-understanding, but to do something constructive with understanding, develop a scientific attitude toward personal development and through growth. In the recent Philippines educational context, And even earlier then, education of the self is part of values education. Adolescence, psychology, foundations of education are linked to previous state course. However, it is evaluated discussed under the chapter of personal within the course category subject called general psychology. Now, the new course is on finding out identity in the impact on may somehow encourage diverse perspective to the personal insight of every adolescent as discussed of nature of identity factors and force that effect that develop or maintains the personal identity. The three unit core subject in the college and a part of education program of the curriculum. That's all and thank you.
Achievement Identity for Adolescents. In the Book of Forman 1990, cited the findings of Waterman 1982 under the four identity statuses of James Marcia mentioned. Students who have weathered the crisis and who achieve an identity have come to their own conclusions and feel good about themselves. Their sense of esteem is not vulnerable to criticism. They accept and feel in harmony with themselves and are calm, nurturant, mature, measured, tolerant, and active. They are truly independent of their parents and are likely to have established new, mature relationships with them, based on the individuation that they were encouraged to achieve by a democratically led family decision-making style. They use formal operations consistently, are able to understand and negotiate a variety of points of view on any subject, and can empathize with people who are vastly different from themselves. Unpacking human personality. Unpacking human personality is an idea of Murphy, 1976, as quoted. The problem is to know how to unpack the human personality. Some have divided it into a lower nature and a higher, or between one's worst self and his or her better self. Paul spoke of the old man and the new man. In his Republic, Plato divided human nature into three elements: the rational, the spirited, and the appetitive. Some psychologists, some psychologists have categorized man into conscious minds and unconscious, while others see him as conscious mind, subconscious, semi-conscious, and unconscious mind. Freud saw every person as consisting of ego, ID, and superego. Added by Murphy in 1976, the point is not to attempt to find the correct categories, for all of them may be correct from certain perspectives. The point is to define categories that are functional in practical life and understandable to an ordinary person. The categories described by Harris in transactional analysis are not new categories, but they have new definitions. Each of the three persons within a person, parent, child, and adult. These categories roughly parallel traditional categories according to Murphy, 1936. The parent is the moral, natural nature or cultural condition nature. The child is the emotional nature and the adult is the rational nature. Accurately, the parents represents opinions, the child desires, an adult reason or reflection. Basic skills for school survival. One famous book entitled The Everything College Survival Book, authored by Rich 1997, wrote so many good tips below for the adolescents to ponder on, that maybe later after reading would become the source of both after every teenager's advice, like packing for college, paying for your education, tips for earning some extra cash, developing credit, getting organized, computers, choosing your classes and your major, traveling to school, exploring the territory, homesickness, stress, get it out of your life. Emergency issues, doing your own laundry munchies, roommates, getting to know them and sharing space. Get a social life, meet new friends. Sports, get a date, developing good study habits, the daily grind, writing papers, speed reading, research online, taking tests, extra help, learning disabilities, internships, day trips, the ultimate break vacation. As final point, every college applicants, freshmen, old, transferee, shifting, and returning students have their coping ways in surviving college days. It is not just the study habits and deadlines of assignments solely an adolescent need to develop, but the positive emotional skills that an advantage, a family support associated with financial backup could vouch one to continue schooling and succeed. Where to get help during college challenges? Where to get help during college challenges? There are resources in the Philippines you may try to contact if you feel helpless and depressed while at school and away from family. Number one is class advisor. If your school has a class advisor and your problem is considered petty, the class advisor can just be your immediate guide. Second, disciplinary office. This office usually called Office of Student Affairs, or the equivalent is the one that implements policies, rules, and regulations. The header is also the one that gives due signal to expel and can punish students to give community services once had infractions committed. Third is school registrar. Concerned with grades, grading sheets, wrong grade entries to your transcript of records, dropping and withdrawal of subjects, and other forms of transactions bearing the same degree is the fourth and responsibility of registrar. And the fourth is college dean. When you have problems with your teachers and the curriculum, the dean can be of help. The dean can be of help to shed light to academic or teacher, student concerns. And sometimes, due to proper protocol, the deans leave the job to the guidance counselor or to the class advisor in most cases. Guidance counselor. When your problem is highly emotional that needs a professional help, you better go to the guidance office and discuss to the counselor whatever you want to share. No detail of your problem is nonsense for a counselor. Every tidbit of your life's issues are better heard, loud and clear, while he or she listens carefully. The guidance office is not a disciplinary office, unlike student affairs office. Psychometrician, a school personnel who can help you out in knowing your aptitude or intelligence. He or she can administer and interpret tests. Psychologist, if you want another expert who would assess and examine your inner conflicts, hang-ups, mental skepticism, and unwind your past, a licensed psychologist would innermostly interpret and show you options to consider. He or she can be a psychometrician to you who can administer tests, interpret and interpret them and process your emotions. However, he or she cannot prescribe synthetic medicine. And lastly, psychiatrist. If you have different feeling more than what your peers had been experiencing like grave insomnia that requires synthetic medicine, a psychiatrist can be of big help for they can release prescriptions towards the pharmacy. A psychiatrist can be located in most community hospitals in both public and private. If you go to psychiatrist, it does not mean that you are insane. It only means that you have a challenging concern that needs the same expert. Career coaching. Career is a direct reason of striving hard, and remarkably, a goal that one persuades in order to finish the 4 to 5 year course in college. This is what every fresh graduate is aiming for. Career requires full responsibility, commitment, maturity, intelligence, skills, and passion. The academic performance is not just one of the gold mouths of every adolescent student in the tertiary level, but also to finish education and soon will find a job in order to fulfill oneself and to provide better living for the family. Factors in career coaching. Career education. The first month within the semester or trimester is the start-up orientation to motivate students and to understand better if what these career opportunities ahead mean or related to their chosen courses. Resume making or application letter. Resume format is usually suggested by the Public Employment Services Office or PISO of every locality. When they are invited to talk during PISLA, they inserted tips on how to write resume and application letters effectively in order to attract the attention of the employers. The application letter can just be learned from one of your basic English subjects. If not served or not found in your curriculum, ask the help of guidance office if where to properly address your query. Exit interview. Mock interview was usually conducted in tertiary schools, both government and private. This exactly trains or guides the students on how to fluently speak in front of the employer. Pre-employment seminar for local applicants or PISLA. There are equivalent terms such as this PISO, LGU, active that supports employment crusade. Assuming that the ready resume from the school has been prepared, it's clever to bring it during the PISLA workshop or seminar to have it checked too. There are people from PISO and the Department of Labor and Employment who generously help students in crafting this paper. In PISLA, topics like illegal recruitment and human trafficking are part of the lectures and is mostly likely briefed the soon to be graduates some precautionary measures, proper decorum and etiquettes when dividing for job seeking. Lastly, job fair. This is usually planned by the school's PISO managers, alumni coordinators, or maybe with the guidance office. This is a placement activity that gives employment opportunity to the new graduates or alumni. Certain companies, institutions, and agencies accredited to DOLE and PISO have ACEs for this activity. You will also find some linkages like SSS, Pag-ibig, PhilHealth, passport processing, and other services that alongside orients and provide services to the job fair participants. There are also actual hired on the spots or HOTS on this job hiring venue.